community, beautiful souls. It's time for another Facebook Live. And today we will be talking about this is for coaches and aspiring coaches how to work with intense negative emotion when your client is presenting it. So I'm going to hang out and let the algorithm tell people we're here. I'm going to put on some music. And we are going to start just a few minutes after 12. So let me put some jams on. Okay, we're going to get started in just a few more minutes, letting the algorithm let everyone know that we're live. And then we'll be giving some free training on coaching. and welcome. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, today we are talking about how to work with intense negative emotion. This is specifically for coaches or aspiring coaches. If you've been considering becoming a coach, if you watched our last live stream, or if you want to watch our last live stream, I gave some really good reasons for why to become a coach. Number one, there is a shortage of people who can help with mental health. 1 in 12 people in society experience depression. This is a stat from the World Health Organization, and there is a critical shortage of help for mental health. Mindlight's mission is to create an emotionally thriving world and spread the joy of the human experience. There's a way to work with your emotions such that you can have them work for you. And there's a way to skillfully learn how to work with your feelings such that they're an ally for you and they're an ally for those around you. In addition to working directly with people, we train practitioners in how to do this work. And so if you are considering being a badass transformative coach who can help people get their mind and their emotions on their team, this is a really, really good training for you today. I think we'll go for 35 minutes or so, and I welcome you to leave comments and questions as we go so that you can get the most out of this training. The best place to start as a coach, or even if you're a super experienced coach, is in the foundations, the foundational philosophies of coaching, and getting really, really, really good at that. And then from there, you build a really successful practice, but you can't skip the beginning. You can't skip learning the basics, and the basics is where we are beginning now. And if you're a super experienced coach, you already know this. Reviewing the basics is where mastery comes from. Reviewing, practicing again, going back to the beginning, rebuilding, seeing what the creative original blocks are. Okay, so intense negative emotion. If you are a coach or have already been practicing, I am sure that there have been times when your client has erupted in tears in front of you. Either they showed up already crying or they just absolutely erupted in the middle of a session. And I just want to give you a moment to take an inventory of all the times this has happened to you, or when or if this has happened to you. And now think about, what did it feel like to be you when your client was having an intense emotional experience right in front of you? Did you have the experience of wanting to save them? Did you get super flustered and not know what to do? Kind of almost panic? Did you get on their team about the problem and point to the problem and say, that is a problem. You're right. Houses should be cheaper. I can't believe they raised rent. We need to talk to the landlord. This is a problem. Did you get on the team of the problem? What did it feel like to be you, and what reactions did you have when your client presented an intense negative emotion in a session with you? Just check in with yourself. No matter what you did, if you did sympathize with the problem, if you did kind of lose your balance, if you got scared, if you didn't know what to say, just full permission right now to forgive yourself. Full permission to acknowledge that you didn't know what to do. You didn't know how to resolve that emotion. You completely lost control of the session, and it was a terrible session. If that's you, full permission to forgive yourself. I have given terrible sessions. It's like being a jujitsu fighter or being a ninja. Working with emotions is a ninja skill. And every now and then you lose a match, and that's real. So if you lost a match, if you lost your balance in a session when a client presented a whole lot of anger, a whole lot of tears, a whole lot of something intense you didn't know what to do, just give yourself a little hug and forgive yourself, because we still need you to help. We still need you as a coach. And learning how to work with these emotions, intense negative emotions specifically, is one of the most important skills to have as a coach. It will serve you and your clients tremendously because, one, when you have the confidence that you can handle whatever comes up, you can serve more people. And two, when you have less wobble when it presents to you and you know exactly what to do, it's a much safer space, a safer container for both you and your well being as the practitioner and for your clients. Which is a perfect segue into the first thing that we do when a client expresses intense negative emotion, a really big cry, intense sadness, intense guilt, anger. Maybe they get angry at you. The first thing that you do, that we do as practitioners, is we hold steadfast to well being. This is truth number one in the practitioner foundations that I laid out in the last live stream. We hold fast to the truth that well being is all around us, that this moment is actually serving your client in a beautiful way, in a way that's just for them. All feelings are good feelings, and there's nothing actually wrong here, and there's nothing actually broken. Okay, so no matter what emotion is being presented or how intense it is, if your client is screaming, hysterically crying, there is nothing broken in this moment. And so your first practice is to lean back into well being and be the bridge of well being for your client. What you don't want to do is get on their team about the problem, because then everyone's in the problem energy and now no one can see the possibility or the bridge to walk over into a new way of being. So, if nothing else, your role as the practitioner when intense emotions are being displayed in front of you by your client is to hold that all is well here. All is well. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is broken. We're safe. We're good. We're okay. I'm going to write this in chat so you can follow along. We hold well being. First thing that we do. Again, any questions that come up for you that you want to ask, every question is a good question. No such thing as a silly question. I would be so happy to help you. So very happy to help you. Okay. The second thing we do when intense negative emotion shows up, this is especially true if it shows up in a group setting. So let's say you're holding a workshop. Let's say it has nothing to do with emotions. Let's say you're a financial coach and you're hosting a group workshop on uh, managing money, and someone erupts into tears in the group. Essentially, what I'm teaching you here, guys, is how to de-escalate. And I'll talk about why de-escalation is important in a moment. But one of the most important things you can do is to normalize the reaction your client is happening. So we want to tell them totally normal to feel this feeling. If you're in a group, you say to everyone in the group, hasn't everyone felt this feeling before? Hasn't money at one time or another made you so frustrated that you could cry? Normalize it in the group, normalize it in the moment in the one-on-one session. Like, yeah, dude, I get it. I get why there would be tears right now, and I'm here for it. Totally cool to cry. I am down to be with you in your ugly cry. You want to normalize the emotion. The reason why we want to normalize this emotion is because all feelings are good feelings, and whatever is coming up for your client, the body really wants to express. You want to create a really, really safe place for this emotion to be. And why I'm teaching you these, so these steps are to help de-escalate someone, is because when someone's having a peak emotional experience, there's really nowhere they can go that is going to be a place of possibility or a place of inspired thinking until the emotional wave subsides. So, unless you're trained in trauma resolution, which I'm going to talk about at the very end, unless you're really trained in on purpose provoking the emotion to come up more and seeing where the root of it is, what you really want to do is de escalate. Because only when the person in front of you has calmed, when their body has calmed, can you then unhook them from their survival emotion, unhook them from only being able to see why things are going wrong, why there are no other options. You see, when the mind is and the body are on the team of a really big problem, essentially biologically, survival mode shuts down the creative centers of the brain, shuts down your client's ability to see any opportunity. All it can see is threat. So, really important, and the bulk of what I'm sharing with you in this training is how to de escalate your client very safely, with a lot of care, very skillfully, when a really intense negative emotion arises, so they can get back in a balance. And so that you guys can together create a new path forward if that's what's needed in the moment. If you don't have time to create a new path forward, if this intense negative emotion is showing up in a group training, at minimum, you want to be able to help them re regulate and come back down, let the emotional wave subside. Okay, so the first thing we talked about doing was holding well being. There's nothing broken here and there's nothing wrong. Not getting on their team about the problem, all is well. And the second thing we talked about doing is normalizing this emotional response. If we're in a group, you want to invite the whole group in to the normalizing. We don't want to other the reaction. We don't want to make the person feel weird. We don't want to shame them. We don't want to guilt them. We also don't want to pretend like it's not happening. When it's right in front of you, you want to say, it's all good to cry. Full permission to cry. Haven't we all felt scared of this thing? Or I have also felt scared of this thing. I know where you're coming from. It's all good. Let's feel that feeling. The second step is to normalize this emotion. I'm noticing, guys, that there's a bunch of people wanting to join the Facebook group right now, and I am going to go ahead and let them in so that they can watch this live stream. So just give me one moment to approve all these beautiful people. Okay, great. If you're just joining the live stream, welcome. Really happy to have you. Really, really happy to have you. So, just to catch everyone up who's just joining, we're covering how to be with intense negative emotion and essentially de escalate it. Because only when we are able to calm down the reaction in front of us can we go somewhere else. So, the first step is to hold well being. The second step is to normalize the emotion that your client is having. Okay. Okay, so that's two steps. The next step when your client's having a huge breakdown in front of you, emotional, tears, what we want to do is add no momentum. Third step is add no momentum. I'm writing this in chat for you. Add no momentum to the big explosive tears. You really just want to let the wave subside. If you invite your client to rant about what's wrong, like tell me all about it, they're going to go deeper into upset. And as they go deeper into upset and all their biological systems, their breath starts to increase, their heart rate starts, breath rate starts to increase, their heart rate starts to increase, their brain's hyper focused on the problem. Again, we're going to go farther into an upset and we can't get to possibility from there. And like I said earlier, unless you are trained in how to on purpose bring this upset up and gently and safely resolve it, what you really want to do is de-escalate. It's the safest thing to do is de-escalate. And the third thing to do is to add no momentum. Don't ask them details. Don't get on their team about it. Just totally almost be just like a soothing, energetic partner. The term co-regulation comes to mind. Be the role model in your body. Role model in your body that all is well here and create stillness. You want to add no momentum to the reaction. Okay? The fourth piece, when intense negative emotion is showing in front of you and your client or in your group, is to create a lot of space from the painful thing. And I'm going to spend a little time here. You want to create a lot of space from the painful thing. Creating space from the painful thing, often when the mind thinks about something really painful, it occurs as if it's happening now. It occurs as if the painful thing or the painful thought is right in front of us, completely removing all of our safety. And so, a beautiful technique to help your client calm down is to create a lot of space from the thing that caused the upset. And there are 3 different ways to do this. And I'm going to lead you through it now. So I'm going to write in chat, we're going to create space from the painful thing. The mind can really be an ally, and the way you think about the mind in terms of working with the emotions is that the mind is the director. It's the director of the movie or the director of the train. And you can use the discipline of the mind to change the direction of an emotion. Lillian, one of my co-founders, likes to say that the mind and emotions are easily tricked like a child, which really works to our advantage because it means that we can shift the direction of the mind, think a different thought, and that will allow the waves of emotion. If you think of a big emotional reaction like a tsunami wave, moving the attention of the mind off of the painful thing will help the wave recede, will help the floodwaters recede from your client's body. And also, practitioners, just think about this in your own skin. Think about this just in your own experience. Practice this with yourself. Next time upset comes up, can you move your mind to something else for a few moments so that the reaction can calm down? So, one way that you can do this with your client or with yourself that I really love is by using visuals. I do this all the time with my clients, all the time, especially if a client shows up already crying. I don't add momentum. I don't say, tell me all about it, because then they're going to go deeper into the upset and we're not going to be able to get space to even understand the broader picture of what's going on. What the first thing I do is I create a lot of space. I hold well-being, like I open with, I normalize that it's happening. I don't go into it. I don't add any momentum. I then create space. So I say, okay, whatever that thing is, I'm going to turn it into a football. This is a visualization. I'm going to turn it into a football and I'm going to throw that football with my turbo arm all the way to Mars. We're just going to totally get that thought out of here. Okay, so we move it really far away. Sometimes I move it to Russia because I'm in the States, so that's pretty far away. And I'll say I'm going to bury it under 20 feet under cement, under a pool in Russia. Right away, when you do something like that, you throw it to outer space, or you could say, we're going to delete it. Okay. Right now, we're just going to delete that thought or delete what just happened and take a breath. Notice it's not here now. As soon as you do that, you'll watch the body language of your client start to change. Creating space. And if you're with someone who has trouble visualizing, just spatial recognition can be used. Telling them how far away something is. I'm moving it 3 football fields away. I'm moving it 10 miles down the road, burying it underground. Using numbers can really, really help. And what this does is it moves your client's mind off the thing. It puts the thing really far away and helps them feel safe in the moment. So that's one way you can create a lot of space from the painful thing. Another way you can create a lot of space from the painful thing is to bring your client present to how safe they are in this environment in this very moment. So, for example, you can see I'm sitting in the seat. You might say to your client, can you just lean back in your seat right now and feel how the seat has your back? If you're in a group setting, you can say, can we all just lean back and rest into this moment? You can invite them to notice the stillness of the trees. You can invite them to notice the clouds in the sky. Bring them right here into this present moment. Have them feel their butt in the seat. I literally say to a client, can you feel your butt in your seat? All is well here. Anchor them in the present. And then the last piece, super important piece, is working with the body. I've got a whiteboard over here that I'm looking at with my notes that I wrote down earlier. So the last piece is working with the body. The body is the thing, is the one, is the entity having the reaction. So we also need to help the body calm down. And there's a few different ways to do this. One of the most foundational, functional ways to calm the body down is by taking slow, deep breaths. So you can role model it. First, you are role modeling it, and then invite your client. Or if you're in a group, can we all just take a few deep breaths right here? Doesn't it totally make sense that that would be a scary thought? Don't we all get that? Normalizing, bringing the group in, or if you're just with your client one-on-one, totally understand how you'd feel this way. So normal. Could we just take a breath? Big inhale into your lower back, down into your toes. You can invite them to tap their feet on the floor. You can invite them to bounce in their seat. Feel the seat holding them up. If it calls for it, if the amount of energy in their body is big, you can say, let's shake it out. If you're in a group, don't we all just want to shake it out? And if it makes sense, remind this person how far away that thing is and just bring them right into the present moment. And this, my friends, is how we de-escalate an intense negative emotion when it is in front of us. This is a super important skill if you're not yet trauma trained. Trauma being defined as I'm going to uh, an intense negative experience that was unintegrated. Okay, and if you want to actually go and heal the root cause of that upset, or where the trauma is rooted in the body, it's a whole different skill set. Um, Beautiful skill set. If you want that skill set, we are doing a free training of how to work with trauma on August 18th and 23rd, and you can find the links to RSVP in the Facebook group. Until you have that skill set, de-escalating is going to be your best friend when intense negative emotion shows up in session. Again, this is important because when intense negative emotion is up, your client can't see possibility. It's not their fault, it's biology. Can't see possibility, can't see a way out, can't see anything but the problem. So we want to help them calm down. And then together, you can zoom out and get some perspective and decide to go in a new direction. This doesn't resolve the root cause of the upset. It doesn't get deep into where that reaction came from, what is the root trauma that caused it, but it does take you off the intense emotion in the moment and give you somewhere else to go. Okay, loves, that's it for today. If there's any questions, I can hang out for a few more moments. If you've ever had an intense negative emotion come up in session with a client, another thing to do if you're not trained in how to resolve the root cause of this, you can refer out. Mindlight has lots of trained professionals who can work with the cause. Otherwise, de-escalate. De-escalating is your best bud. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this gives you more skills and more confidence in what to do the next time a client shows up crying their eyes out. You've got this. I want to thank you for joining today. Thank you for choosing to become a coach. Thank you for thinking about it. The world needs more help, needs more people to know how to skillfully guide others and how to be with their emotions. And if you're feeling that calling, Mindlight would love to have your words, your voice in this community. And we are giving a free training too on August 18th and 23rd on how to resolve intense negative emotions. So this is how to de-escalate it. On the 18th and 23rd, we talk about trauma resolution, which is how to get to the root of the intense, unintegrated, dissonant experience and resolve it entirely. And if you want to RSVP for that, you can find, oh, you know what? I will drop the link right now into the comments. So if you want to RSVP for that free training, this is like the number one primo skill for coaches. If you want like the sharpest knife, it's learning how to resolve trauma, how to resolve that root cause of where that negative emotion or big outburst is coming from, or what's keeping the negative pattern in place. I recommend you sign up for one of those trainings. And until next time, I love you. So next week on Tuesday, the live stream will be led by Lillian Moore. And Lillian is going to be demonstrating an actual coaching session, actual Mindlight session on how to work with emotion. And so you'll see a bit of healing, you'll see a bit of expanding into human potential, and you'll get a taste of the magic of what exactly happens in a Mindlight session. So this is great for anyone who just wants to see like what's possible and how are transformational moments created, because we can all have them. If you're a practitioner, you'll get to see what it looks like on the practitioner side. And if you've been thinking about booking a session, you'll get to see what the work looks like on the client side. So really exciting. And that is next week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central. Okay, have a beautiful day. Thank you for tuning in. Melanie Weinberger, one of the co-founders. Forgot to introduce myself today. And we'll